Hi, this is Nick Palmer, and it's time for another happy hour with the Maestro. I hope you've enjoyed our show so far. We've had some really good feedback, and people seem to have a good time. But, you know, hey, it's all about having a good time. It's about unwinding with the Maestro and enjoying a beverage. So let's start with the beverage. We have a lovely beverage tonight. It is coming into focus now. You might even be able to read the glass, which says Charleston Wine and Food. Let's taste this. My, that's a delightful beverage right there. So that one is actually a wine that you can get online. And luckily here in South Carolina, we can get stuff like that delivered. This is a wine grape you may not know a whole lot about. It's a Chenin Blanc. Now, Chenin Blancs are made a lot in France, in the Loire Valley, which is the place where all those beautiful castles are. That's primarily where it is. It also is made in South Africa, but it's made in the United States as well. And it's a fresh, fruity, great summer wine. This particular one costs $9.99 a bottle, which is a really good deal. I'm gonna try it again. Has a kind of an aroma of peaches, let's say. And the winemaker, whose name is Alexandra Farber, works for a company called Naked Wines. Now, you may have received in the mail, you know, if you've gotten a delivery of flowers or other stuff, that sometimes there'll be a little black credit card in there that says Naked Wines on it. And that allows you to get about half off, or you can just go to nakedwines.com and you can get an instant discount, because this is funded by people they call angels, who help these winemakers out. And this particular winemaker, Alexandra Farber, doesn't do any advertising. It's all done through this winery, Naked Wine. So anyway, it's a fun wine. I think you would enjoy it. All right, so just a little housekeeping details. We also have a new sponsor this week, and the sponsor is none other than MaestroWines.com. MaestroWines.com can help you out selecting wines for your wine cellar. It can help you select wines for your next party. Also can help with wine education if you'd like to do something like that, or a wine tasting at your house. It's a company that just formed here in Charleston, and guess who is in charge of it? That would be none other than Maestro Nick. So this is an opportunity. If you need any help with wine, you just call the number, local number on the screen, or email me, and I would be happy to help you and talk a little bit about what this company is. It's just a real part-time thing because, of course, I'm a full-time symphony conductor and pops conductor, especially here I am a pops conductor. So this is just another little thing that I'm doing. Also, we have a special concert coming up soon. Leah and Dimitri, who are our soloists for the first concert in September with the North Charleston Pop. So that'll be a really fun one. So it's time to unwind with the Maestro, and hope you by now have a beverage, whatever kind of beverage you would like. I'm going to try this one more time. Now, a lot of times people that drink wine, they smell the wine just to check it out. Sometimes you can swirl it around. Now, this is not wine snobbery. This is just fun, just to check out the wine and get used to what it smells like, because, of course, smell is a big factor in any kind of beverage. And this is a really nice one. All right, enough messing around. Time to unwind with the Maestro and meet some interesting people. And we have an extremely interesting person coming up on this show in just a moment. I'm going to introduce him. Matt Peebles is the principal second violinist of the North Charleston Pops. He's also helping us with development, which is fundraising, and works with our Pops Kids program. He's a fascinating guy and a good friend, and please welcome to Happy Hour with the Maestro, Matt Peebles. There you are.
Well, hello, Maestro.
Hey, brother, what's going on?
Another day in paradise here in Charleston. It's a good thing.
I bet. Now you were out on a boat today, I believe, weren't you?
I was.
Or doing something boat related.
Coming in nice and a little sunburned, a little sweaty, but ready for a cold beverage.
That's a great idea. Let's talk about a cold beverage. What kind of cold beverage do you have?
So I'm drinking Palmetto Brewing Idle Speed. It's, if you can see that.
Yes, nice.
It's
Local beverage.
Yep, it's a salted lime lager. So it's just a nice light summer beer. It's like 4.5% or so. Great for coming in from cutting grass or being on the boat all day. Nothing too heavy, nothing too crazy. Nice and refreshing. So nice local beer that I enjoy. You can find at most grocery stores.
That's great. And that's one of the nice things about living in the Charleston area is there are 30 plus breweries here. You know, they're all over the peninsula, North Charleston, everywhere. And they make some really, really great beers, and you can also taste them in a lot of these tasting rooms that they have. So that's a lot of fun.
You can go visit almost all of them and try stuff that's not available on the shelves, do your flights, whatever, have a big time, make a day of it. There's actually a book you can find most of the breweries that have they call it the beer trail. That'll kind of take you the whole area.
I think I've seen that. Yeah, that's great.
So
sort of like the bourbon trail in Kentucky. Yeah, kind of deal.
Kind of sort of.
Cool. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about your history with the Pops and as a musician and what other fun things that you're doing. We already talked about boating, and we're going to talk about another thing that you do later. I'm not going to give it away yet because it's something really, really, really fun. So let's start with how we know you from the Pops. So people who come to the Pops always see you because you're in what we call the inner circle, which is like the front circle where all the first string players sit. So you're sitting like you're the third one in, and they see you a lot, and you've got your red bow tie on, and you're a wonderful musician. Tell us how you got started as a violinist.
So I actually am a product of a public school string program. In elementary school in 5th grade, there was either option to do general music and take choir or try beginning strings. And I really wasn't feeling the whole choir thing. So figured, what the heck, let's give this string thing a shot. And I actually wanted to play the bass originally. My folks said, no, that's way too big. So the violin it was, and it kind of stuck.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah,
well, and you were smart. You were smart to do the violin. My dad, I played the bass, and my dad just kept arguing with me. He said, Dad, why don't you switch to the piccolo? It's a lot smaller, but maybe I should have played the violin. But the violin is such a great instrument because it has such versatility.
Very much so. And, a lot of us violinists double in the viola world as well. So,
right.
With the Pops originally, almost originally, for a couple of seasons, I played viola. And so you kind of get the whole gamut. Classical world, there's guys that do a lot in the fiddle stuff too. I don't get into that so much, but, there's plenty of opportunity.
So tell us about your college years and then how you got into playing violin professionally and violin and viola both professionally.
So I did my undergrad at USC in Columbia. I taught at the string project there, played with the symphony, started playing with the Philharmonic, probably junior year there. Played all the way through. When I graduated, did a semester of grad work just to kind of bridge the gap between student teaching and moving down here. I followed a teaching job in Dorchester County as an orchestra director at Midland High School in 2009 here to Charleston, and actually met Tacy, where all the Pop stuff started, through a church music director. I played for their church like Christmas pageant production. I've played that show for better part of 10 years now.
Cool.
The first year, and 2010, 2011, whenever the sort of the beginning was, the concert with Earth, Wind, and Fire, where the orchestra kind of started, the music director at that particular church kind of sent an all call, said, hey, all you string players, they're looking to put an orchestra together. Email this lady who happened to be Tacy Edwards if you want to be a part of it. Sure, why not? So I shot her a note, and we actually met that way. I played viola for that, which I sort of picked up in college. The viola professor kind of grabbed me by the ear. She said, you're a big guy and a good violin player. You should come play viola. Okay. And as it turned out, it's been a great, second career move to be able to
Sure. And then Tacy, of course, was our first guest on the show, is our executive director and plays principal flute in the orchestra. And for people that are not maybe so musical, what is the difference between the violin and viola, and how are they different in terms of how you play them?
So the viola is larger, depending on how big of a person you are. Your viola may be a little larger than a violin or a lot larger than a violin. Violin typically is 14 inches. If we think about body size, viola anywhere from 15 or 15 and a half up to, you see as big as 17 and a half, or there's one or two 18 inch that are, like playing a small cello under your chin. My viola is 16 and 5/8. So a little bit different. Your hand spacing on the instrument is wider. And thinking about right hand, you think about a heavier bow and a slower bow. So it looks a lot the same, and there are a lot of things that are similar, but you kind of have to plan differently on how certain things are going to work, both left hand and right hand, to make the viola actually sound decent. Versus working backwards now to the smaller instrument, that you have to kind of think differently, that you can't be quite as heavy-handed. I remember making a mistake in college of giving a half violin, half viola recital, and I thought it'd be smart to play the viola half first. And it was not the greatest thing in the world to come back to the violin, the smaller instrument, for the second half. But lesson learned, and haven't made that mistake since.
There you go. Well, life's all about learning lessons. Now, your experience in the Pops has had you given you an opportunity to perform lots of different kinds of music. Of course, we play mostly popular music. What are some of the challenges about, playing popular music versus the kind of music you might play in a symphony orchestra that plays primarily classical repertory?
It's a whole different ballgame keeping up with a band, keeping up with having a drummer that's setting the deal, and the drummer's, he's not moving. He's locked into his into the maestro, and doesn't matter what in the world's happening around him. He's just doing his thing, So the orchestra doesn't have a chance to kind of give and take and push and pull like you might in a classical setting where everybody works together.
Sure.
So it's working to a click track, if you're, depending on what you're playing, it's just a totally kind of different way of thinking. And a lot of times I think harder. Not that classical composers didn't think about the instrumentalists, but a lot of times, at least the string players, the popular composers, John Williams comes to mind. He really didn't care how hard it was or how many notes there were. He knew what he wanted. So tough nuggets, here you go. In a lot of cases, in the classical symphonic world, not that things are easy, but they may lay better on the instrument, or they may just make a little more sense.
Right. And John Williams, of the composers that we play, is probably more symphonic than a lot of the composers, because he really does make it challenging for everybody, but he creates music that sounds, you can hear in Star Wars music like from Holst the Planets or Brahms' First Symphony or something, real classical stuff.
Half of the Ring cycle.
The Ring, whatever. I mean, he just, and so anyway, and that's a good analogy too, but it is different. It is different playing our repertory.
And if you look at something like an orchestrator that does string parts or does orchestra parts, that either was originally for a studio recording, or maybe is going to fit for a band that's doing a symphony show after the fact, it's interesting to see how they sometimes interpret what they want instruments to do, and does the instrument actually is it able to do what they want it to do, and again, they may not be, I'm not going to say trained or knowledgeable, but may not have the experience or the know-how that, okay, this is actually what's going to work well in the instrument. So we've had many times rehearsals where, especially if they're first cut charts, we need to change this or fix this, or maybe this note doesn't actually exist, or, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. You do another thing for our organization, which is one of the most significant things that we do all together anyway, and that is our educational program, where we go into the schools of North Charleston, several schools, and work with a lot of kids who are in Title I schools who don't really have much music education at all. And you're a big part of that. We call that the Pops Kids program. Tell us a little bit about what you do, and a little bit about the Pops Kids program itself.
So the Pops Kids program, our whole goal is to bring music education, right now string ed and choir, to schools where the school district may not be providing that program, may not be providing it well enough. Kids that otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity. So we're providing instruments, we're providing lessons, we're providing a small ensemble experience where they may have nothing otherwise. For me, I teach lessons at a couple of the elementary schools, Viola and Viola. I conduct what's now a reasonably small Pops Kids Youth Orchestra. We're working to grow that over the next couple of seasons to really kind of be a big deal in the Low Country, throughout the Tri-County area. The goal to eventually be a full youth symphony, to give the kids a chance to play, if not real original lit, nice solid arrangements of the same kind of pop stuff that we do in the professional orchestra. Whether it be as a stepping stone for them to go on and actually become musicians, or just to have all of those benefits that music brings to education, critical thinking, teamwork, being able to make a decision on the fly, all that stuff that doesn't necessarily, taught verbatim in school, but those kind of life lessons that come along with playing an instrument and the creative side of our world.
Yes, and like you say, there's so many things that it does, not just practicing music, but playing in an ensemble, that it helps the brain develop in so many different and special ways. And it also is fun when we get those kids up on the stage with the big orchestra, with the adult orchestra, and you know, their faces light up when they have the opportunity to play as part of one of our concerts. It's a significant thing for them.
You know, I remember when I was a kid getting to play with the Philharmonic a couple of times in Columbia when I was in middle school, high school. And it was just like the coolest thing ever to get to work with who are now my colleagues in the professional world, but to be that age and be exposed to that and think, man, those guys are pretty darn good, you know, but to have the experience, and especially for these kids who may never have been to a professional symphonic show or may have never seen a concert outside of something they see on TV or YouTube, you know, to be able to, their first time might be on stage, you know, lights in front of them. And it's just cool to see the parents get excited about seeing their kids up there.
Absolutely. And we've had pretty good success in the last several years. We started where we didn't have any of the kids actually being able to attend the School of the Arts in North Charleston. But it's gradually gone up from 1 to 2. This year we had 4 kids get in. And that's a real credit to you and all of the other teachers who are all members of the Pops, who have really made a difference in the lives of these kids.
It's a cool and it's a rewarding thing to be part of. Maybe really even more so than working with students who may have more opportunity. It's neat to be involved in kind of bringing that somewhere where the kids otherwise wouldn't have it. You know, with myself and my other colleagues and the Pops that are doing this. It's just a really neat thing.
It is. But this is not the only thing you do, music. You do lots of other stuff. And I recently had the opportunity to go out on a boat with you, and you can tell us exactly what you do in the boat world now, because it's really fascinating. And I think when I had the opportunity to go recently out there with you in the harbor, you were working with one of your clients who you had delivered a boat to. So tell us what you do in the boating world.
So since I was a kid, so I grew up on high school working and goofing off. Same thing in college. When I went to Carolina the summer after my freshman year, I went to work for West Marine, which is an aftermarket marine parts company who have stores all over the place. Was working for them. I was working as the towboat driver for a professional slalom skier who was actually the store manager also. Moved down here in 2009, transferred with Marine, was still working on the weekends, that kind of thing. Left the school district, went back to work West Marine full-time for about a year to be able to play more and do that kind of thing and still teach some lessons. Ended up leaving West Marine in end of 2011, started 2012 with a boat dealer here in town as a parts guy and working back in the shop some, and really quickly got into the professional boat operator, into the captain thing. So I got my captain's license. I had a lot of sea time and really got into not only moving boats up and down the coast, motor yacht kind of stuff, but really kind of found my niche in the delivery and training captain side of the industry. So what I do in a lot of times is what I'm doing now, especially with nothing going on in education and music and that kind of thing. Although what I did as a pretty much a full-time job outside of music for the last 7 or 8 years until this year, was a delivery captain for the dealership. So I would, when somebody would come in and buy a boat, whether they were a new boater or an experienced boater, maybe buying a bigger boat or a different boat, I would spend a couple hours on a boat with them, not only going through boat systems, maintenance, that kind of thing, but a lot of hands-on boat operator training. So we're everywhere. If somebody who's a newbie, you know, we're everything from how we're tie knots properly, how to operate the boat, you know, nicely and safely and slowly, so you can actually get out and have fun and not be scary. Somebody who maybe is an experienced boater but buying a bigger boat, we're talking about a different set of boat handling skills, how we're going to apply what you already know to be able to, let's say you bought from a 20-foot boat to a 40-foot boat. Well, heavier boat, usually 2 engines, maybe 3. Now we have a whole different set of things to think about with how we're going to approach maybe certain maneuvering things or certain situations around a dock or in a marina or even out operating the boat, you know, how they can not only be safe and enjoy it, but use the boat to its full potential.
Absolutely. Well, that's great. And that's such a fascinating thing. Well, I'm sure it is. And it allows you to be out in the beautiful weather here in Charleston, which it's almost always beautiful here, and to enjoy the water.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's cool.
I come home in the summertime constantly with the nice, sunglass tan line.
I see that. Yes.
A little more sunburn than I probably should, that kind of thing. But it's fun to, in the summer, I was out with two different people today. So I've been on the water for the last 6 hours. It was great. There are
That's
days I
awesome.
might have morning to get stuff done around the house and then an afternoon delivery. One day next week, I have 3 back to back. So I'll be on the water for probably 10, 11 hours.
Yep.
And even during concert season, typically, I could be teaching in the morning and then go do delivery in the afternoon, or, have a day off I could knock. So it's a nice balance, a nice mix. And it's nice to kind of have a variety of interests, so nothing gets old. It's always fun to go to work.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about play for a little bit.
All right.
You have another fun hobby that I'm well aware of, having had the opportunity to sample some of the wonderful cuisine you produce. Tell us about your barbecue habit.
So we do.
and expertise, I should say, too.
Habit or an addiction. But
addiction, I think, is probably more like it. Yeah.
Well, if you look at the backyard and you see the collection of grills, my wife says it's a problem. But
yeah, right.
However you choose to define that, that's okay. No, it's kind of become a lot of fun over the last 5 or 6 years. Every guy grows up grilling with their dad, right? And that was always a lot of fun going through. But so when I moved to the neighborhood we live in now 7 years ago, I real quickly met a guy in the neighborhood who used to do professional barbecue catering. So I started cooking with him fairly often, just because I wanted to learn more about smoking stuff and, more than just grill burgers and grill steak, that kind of thing. And it's kind of grown into maybe more than just a mild addiction. I've ended up with a big custom cooker, a couple of other grills. I don't do a whole lot of catering. Every once in a while to do something, but more for friends that might be having a big group of folks and you want to do a whole bunch of pulled pork or a brisket or smoked sausage or ribs, or I've gotten into cold smoking stuff. So learning how to cold smoke cheese. I make my own bacon. Somebody just got me a meat grinder, so we're going to start learning how to make sausage.
Nice.
It's it
well,
builds itself quickly.
You're really good at it, and of course, as you know, I've tried a lot of your products.
So
brisket.
I did a brisket and a smoked turkey for you for Christmas this year.
Oh my God, that was amazing! And then we had an opportunity to have some guys over before the COVID hit, and had a wonderful pork.
That's right. It did some pulled pork. That was good.
Oh my gosh! And I was telling you, and I'm I still feel this way, and I sampled a lot of barbecue in Charleston, and I thought the pork tasted just like Rodney Scott's, and that's high praise is all I can say, as you know, because he's the master around here. But it was really, really good, and you made all kinds of great sauces to go with it, and it was really, really just first class.
It's a creative outlet in a different way, instead of the music thing. So it's fun to have a whole bunch of different passions that they all can be beneficial to somebody in some way. I have a lot of fun. If somebody in the neighborhood's sick, or you have friends, whatever, somebody has a baby, take them some barbecue.
That's great.
Having grown up in the South, anytime anybody got married, got sick, died, anything, covered dish, right?
There you go.
So,
there you go. And that's a special covered dish, because everybody loves barbecue.
Yes,
it's great, and your barbecue is amazing. Well, tell us before we leave a little bit about the rest of your family. It's not just you all alone there in your house.
No. So my wife Amanda is a nurse practitioner here in town. My sister and brother-in-law actually live here in town as well. They're both in medicine, so I'm the only one that's kind of branched the other way. We're here with our 2 dogs. We've got a boxer pit mix and a little Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, and then 2 horses. So not unlike your wife.
Oh yeah.
I married into the horse habit.
Oh yeah. We won't even go into that. But
no, and I really need to learn more about, I go to the barn with my wife occasionally, not as much as I probably should, but I really need to learn to ride and, get more into that. I tend to be the guy that tows the horse trailer.
Yeah.
More than anything.
Well, that's an important skill too, though.
Yeah, carry the feed bags to the horse trailer, that kind of thing. But it's fun. It's a nice varied life and set of circumstances.
Well, that's very kind of you to take time out from your busy week to meet with us on Happy Hour with the Maestro. It was a really fascinating interview. You're a cool guy, and we so appreciate you being part of the North Charleston Pops. So hope you have a great rest of your week and weekend, and we will look forward to seeing you on the stage of the Pack soon. We don't know when, but hopefully soon.
Looking forward to it. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here. Absolutely. And we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
Take it easy.
Thanks again to Matt Peebles, who was a fabulous guest. He is a fascinating young man and a wonderful musician, great captain. In fact, his nickname is Captain. We call him Captain Matt. And a master barbecuer. I don't know if that's really an appropriate way to use that word, but anyway, he makes darn good barbecue, let's put it that way. This is an exciting time for us at the Pops. It's a time when we are reaching out to our friends and patrons through social media in different ways as a way to keep a connection to everybody while we await the opportunity to perform concerts again at the North Charleston Performing Arts Center, which you can see before you, behind me. This is actually our wonderful theater. And we love being there, and we are really looking forward to getting back, and we hope it is sometime soon. As soon as we can get in there and make sure that everybody's safe, we will be performing again. So we have lots of fun happy hours with the Maestro coming up. We're hoping to do this every Thursday and every week. It's an opportunity for you to unwind with the Maestro. Hope you have a great weekend. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you soon.